Peace and welcome, fam. I'm Antoine, and this is my Dharma path where sutras swing, stories shimmer, and Dharma flows with rhythm. Today we're stepping into chapter 27, the Lotus Sutra. King, Wonderful Adornment as the previous life of a Bodhisattva. What is a Bodhisattva?
A Bodhisattva is an enlightened being who vows to attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. They practice compassion and wisdom, often delaying their own final enlightenment to help others find liberation. They're central figures in Mahayana Buddhism, exemplifying selfless love and dedication to the path of awakening.
This one's a tale of transformation. A king devoted to worldly power is guided by his two sons, Bodhisattva in disguise. Bodhisattvas in disguise toward the Lotus Sutra. It's a story of family, awakening, and the ripple of Dharma across lifetimes. So take a breath, ring that bell if you got one, and chant it with me. Namo Dharma Pundrika Sutra. Let's tune in and receive the light.
Let's tune in and receive the light.
This is chapter 27, right here.
Namo Dharma Pundrika Sutra. Let's tune in and receive the light.
I lost the page. Wait, let me find it. Okay. I'm using a Burton Watson translation. There is a link on the channel if you'd like to read it. Before I read, let me give you a description. Key teachings. Dharma can flow through family ties. Even kings can awaken when guided with compassion. Past lives are part of the Bodhisattva path. Chanting and teaching the sutra transforms karmic patterns. The Lotus Sutra reaches across generations and realms. This chapter says transformation is possible. Family can be a Dharma gate, and the sutra is a thread that weaves through lifetimes. Dharma and karma, are they the same or different?
Dharma and karma are different. Dharma refers to the cosmic law or the path of righteousness, while karma is the law of cause and effect, where actions create future experiences. They're deeply intertwined but distinct aspects of the spiritual journey.
Okay, so chapter 27, former affairs of King Wonderful Adornment.
Former kings of the past, including the stories of King Wonderful Adornment, illustrate the teachings
Okay,
of the
I'm ready
Lotus.
to read now. At that time, the Buddha addressed the great assembly, saying, in an age long ago, an immeasurable, boundless, inconceivable number of asmaka kalpas in the past. Explain asmaka kalpas, please.
An ashamka kalpa refers to an inconceivably long period of time in Buddhist cosmology, representing a vast, incalculable span. It's used to express the profundity and timelessness of certain teachings or events. The term illustrates the immeasurable scale of the universe and the enduring nature of the Dharma across countless ages.
That's a really long time, isn't it?
It is. Ashamkya kalpas represent an inconceivably long duration, emphasizing the timelessness of Buddhist teachings and the vastness of cosmic cycles.
There was a Buddha named Cloud, Thunder, Sound, Constellation, King, Flower, Wisdom, Tathagata, Arhat, Samyaka, Sambuddha. His land was named Light, Bright, Adornment, and his Kalpa was named Gladly Seen. In the midst of this Buddha's law, there was a king named Wonderful Adornment. This king's consort was named Pure Virtue, and he had two sons, one named Pure Storehouse, and the other named Pure Eye. These two sons possess great supernatural powers, merit, virtue, and wisdom, and for a long time they had been practicing the way appropriate to a bodhisattva, carrying out the dana paramita, shila paramita, kashanti paramita, avira paramita, dhyana paramita, prana paramita, the paramita of expedient means, pity, compassion, joy, and indifference, as well as the 37 aids to the way. Can you talk a little bit about these paramitas? Not all of them, but pick one and highlight that.
Let's spotlight Prajna Paramita, or the perfection of wisdom. It's about cultivating deep insight into the true nature of reality, seeing beyond illusions and understanding emptiness. This wisdom guides compassionate action and helps navigate the path to enlightenment.
All of these they had thoroughly understood and mastered. In addition, they had gained the samadhis of the Bodhisattva, namely the pure samadhi, sun, star, and constellation samadhi, pure light samadhi, pure color samadhi, pure illumination samadhi, long adornment samadhi, and great dignity and virtue storehouse samadhi, and had thoroughly mastered all these samadhis. Samadhis are deep-seated meditations, are they not?
Exactly. Samadhis are profound states of meditative concentration where the mind becomes deeply focused and tranquil. They lead to clarity, insight, and ultimately to enlightenment.
Let's talk about the pure color samadhi and what that symbolizes.
The pure color samadhi symbolizes the attainment of clarity and purity of mind, akin to perceiving the true essence of reality without distortion. It reflects a state of inner peace and harmony, where the practitioner sees things as they truly are, beyond illusions.
At that time, that Buddha, wishing to attract and guide King Wonderful Adornment, and because he taught with compassion of living beings, preached the Lotus Sutra, the king's two sons, pure storehouse and pure eye, went to where their mother was, pressed their palms and nails of their 10 fingers together, and said to her, "We beg our mother to go and visit the place where the Buddha, cloud, thunder, sound, constellation, king, flower, wisdom is." Wow. Can you explain his name and what that means?
So, this passage highlights the compassion of the Buddha, named Cloud, Thunder, Sound, Constellation, King, Flower, Wisdom. This Buddha taught the Lotus Sutra to guide King Wonderful Adornment with compassion. The king's sons, pure storehouse and pure eye, recognized the importance of their father's visit to the Buddha and urged their mother to encourage him to seek out the teachings, marking a pivotal moment of spiritual awakening.
We too will attend him, drawing near to the Buddha and offering alms and obeisance. Why? Because the Buddha is preaching the Lotus Sutra in the midst of all the multitude of heavenly and human beings, and it is right that we should listen and accept it. The mother announced to her sons, "Your father puts his faith in non-Buddhist doctrines and is deeply attached to the Brahmanical law. You should go to your father, tell him about this, and persuade him to go with you." Give us an overview of what some non-Buddhist practices were during the time the Lotus Sutra was preached in India.
The Lotus Sutra, a profound teaching in Mahayana Buddhism, emphasizes universal enlightenment and the Bodhisattva path. It's said to have been preached by the historical Buddha, Shakyamuni, during his lifetime in India. This teaching encourages followers to seek the ultimate
You're not
truth.
answering the question. The question is non-Buddhist doctrines in India during the time the Lotus Sutra was preached.
During the time the Lotus Sutra was preached in India, non-Buddhist Buddhist practices included various traditions like Hinduism, with its emphasis on the Vedas, the Brahmanical law, and rituals. Jainism, focusing on nonviolence and asceticism, and various indigenous spiritual practices. These traditions had deep roots in Indian society and influenced many aspects of daily life, philosophy, and culture.
Pure Storehouse and Pure Eye pressed their palms and 10 fingernails together and said to their mother, "We are sons of the Dharma King, and yet we have been born into this family of heretical views." The mother said to her sons, "You are right to think with concern about your father. You should manifest some supernatural wonder for him. When he sees that, his mind will surely be cleansed and purified, and he will permit us to go where the Buddha is." The two sons, being concerned about their father, leaped up into the air to the height of 7 tall trees, and there performed various types of supernatural wonders, walking, standing, sitting, and lying down in mid-air, making water come out of the upper part of their bodies, making fire come out of the lower part of their bodies, making water come out of the lower part of their bodies, making fire come out of the upper part of their bodies, manifesting huge bodies that filled the sky, and then making themselves small again. After becoming small, making themselves big again, disappearing in the midst of the sky, and then suddenly appearing on the ground, sinking into the ground as though it were water, walking on the water as though it were land. They manifested these various types of supernatural wonders in order to cause the mind of their royal father to become pure and to make him believe and understand. Can we explain these powers that they had a little bit?
These supernatural powers, or siddhis, in Buddhist texts represent profound spiritual abilities achieved through deep meditation and insight. They symbolize mastery over the mind and the physical world, like walking on water or changing size. Such acts were intended to inspire faith and demonstrate the transformative power of Buddhist practice, encouraging others to seek enlightenment.
Oh, so you mean here that the sons learned how to walk on water through their meditation. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. In Buddhist texts, these supernatural abilities, called siddhis, are seen as manifestations of deep spiritual attainment.
Okay, I'm going to go on reading. At that time, when the father saw his sons displaying supernatural powers of this kind, his mind was filled with great delight as he experienced what he had never known before. And he pressed his palms together, faced his sons, and said, "Who is your teachers? Whose disciples are you?" The two sons replied, "Great King, the Buddha, Cloud, Thunder, Sound, Constellation, King, Flower, Wisdom, is at present sitting in the Dharma seat under the 7-jeweled Bodhi tree, and amid the multitude of heavenly and human beings of all the world is broadly expounding the Lotus Sutra. This is our teacher, and we are his disciples." The father said to his sons, "I would like to go now and see your teacher. You can go with me." With this, the two sons descended from the air, proceeded to where their mother was, pressed their palms together, and said to their mother, "Our royal father has now come to believe and understand. He is fully capable of conceiving a desire for anuttara samyak and bodhi. We have finished doing the Buddha's work for the sake of our father. We beg that our mother will permit us to go to the place where the Buddha is, to leave the household life, and to practice the way." Can you explain anuttara samyak sambodhi and how it's different from nirvana?
Anuttara samyak sambodhi is the supreme perfect enlightenment, the ultimate awakening of a Buddha. It's the realization of the true nature of reality with profound wisdom and compassion. Nirvana, on the other hand, is the liberation from suffering and the cycle of birth and death. While nirvana marks the end of individual suffering, Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi is the complete and perfect enlightenment that enables a Buddha to teach and guide all beings to liberation.
At that time, the two sons, wishing to state their meaning, once more spoke in verse form, saying to their mother, "We beg our mother to permit us to leave the household and become Shramanas. The Buddhas are very hard to encounter. We will follow this Buddha and learn from him. Rare is the Umdara flower, rarer is it to encounter a Buddha, and escaping from difficulties is also difficult. We beg you to allow us to leave the household." What is a Shramana?
Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi
No,
is
not
the
a Nuttara
ultimate.
Samyak Sambodhi. A Shramana. What is a Shramana?
Shramana refers to an ascetic or a seeker who renounces worldly life to pursue spiritual practices. In Buddhism, a Shramana seeks liberation from the cycle of birth and death, often through meditation and ethical living. The two sons in the Lotus Sutra are asking to become Shramanas, to learn from the Buddha and attain enlightenment.
Okay, I'll go on reading. Their mother then said to them, "I will permit you to leave the household life." Why? Because the Buddha is difficult to encounter. The two sons then addressed their father and mother, saying, "Excellent father and mother, and we beg you in due time to go to the place where the Buddha, cloud, thunder, sound, constellation, king, flower, wisdom is, attend him in person and offer alms." Why? Because encountering the Buddha is as difficult as encountering the Umbara flower, or as difficult as it is for a one-eyed turtle to encounter a floating log with a hole in it. We have been blessed with great fortune from past existences, and so have been born in an age where we can encounter the Buddha's law. For this reason, our father and mother should permit us to leave the household life. Why? Because the Buddhas are difficult to encounter, and the proper time is also hard to come upon. At that time, the 84,000 persons in the women's quarters of King Wonderful Adornment were all capable of accepting and upholding the Lotus Sutra. Bodhisattva Pure Eye had long ago mastered the Dharma flower samadhi, and Bodhisattva Pure Storehouse had already some hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, millions of kalpas in the past mastered the samadhi of the escape from the evil realms of existence. This was because he wished to make it possible for all living beings to escape from the evil realms. Explain what the evil realms are in Buddhism.
In Buddhism, the evil realms refer to states of existence marked by suffering and delusion, like the realms of hell beings, hungry ghosts, and animals. These realms symbolize intense suffering due to negative karma. Escaping these realms signifies attaining liberation and enlightenment, freeing oneself from the cycle of suffering and rebirth.
The king's consorts had gained the samadhi of the Buddha's assembly and was capable of understanding the secret storehouse of the Buddhas. Her two sons, as already described, had employed the power of expedient means to improve and transform their fathers so that he could acquire a mind of faith and understanding and love and delight in the Buddha's law. Thereupon King Wonderful Adornment, accompanied by his ranks of ministers and his attendants, his queen, Pure Virtue, and all the ladies in waiting and attendants of the women's quarters, and the king's two sons and their 42,000 attendants, all at the same time went to where the Buddha was. Arriving there, they bowed their heads to the ground in obeisance to his feet, circled around the Buddha 3 times, and then withdrew and stood at one side. What is the historical accuracy of this event happening?
The events you're reading about in the Lotus Sutra are symbolic teachings rather than historical events. The sutra uses allegory and parable to convey profound spiritual truths. While these characters and events may not be historically accurate, they offer timeless lessons on faith, devotion, and the transformative power of the Buddha's teachings.
Okay, so we're reading an allegory, not something literal.
Exactly, Antoine. The Lotus Sutra uses allegorical stories to teach profound spiritual lessons. It's the symbolic meaning that holds the true significance, rather than the literal historicity. It's like a poetic way to convey deeper truths.
At that time, the Buddha preached the law for the sake of the king, instructing him and bringing him benefit and joy. The king was exceedingly delighted. At that time, King Wonderful Adornment and his queen removed from their necks necklaces of pearls worth hundreds and thousands and scattered them over the Buddha. In mid-air, the necklaces changed into a jeweled dais with 4 pillars. On the dais was a large jeweled couch spread with hundreds, thousands, 10,000s of heavenly robes. Seated cross-legged on them was a Buddha who emitted a brilliant light. At that time, King Wonderful Adornment thought to himself, the Buddha's body is rare indeed, extraordinary in dignity and adornment, constituting a form of utmost subtlety and wonder. Then the Buddha, cloud, thunder, sound constellation, king, flower, wisdom spoke to the 4 kinds of believers, saying, do you see this King Wonderful Adornment who stands before me with his palms pressed together in the midst of my law? This king will become a monk, diligently practicing the law that aids the Buddha way. He will be able to become a Buddha. His name will be Sao Tree King. His land will be called Great Light, and his Galpa will be called Great Lofty King. This Buddha Sao Tree King shall have an immeasurable multitude of bodhisattvas, as well as immeasurable voice hearers. His land will be level and smooth. Such will be his benefits. The king immediately turned over his kingdom to his younger brother, and he himself, along with his queen, his 2 sons, and all their attendants, in the midst of the Buddha's law, renounced the household life to practice the way. After the king had left the household life for the space of 84,000 years, he constantly applied himself with diligence, practicing the Lotus Sutra of the Wonderful Law. When this period had passed, he gained the samadhi of the adornment of all pure benefits, rising into the air to the height of 7 tala trees. He addressed the Buddha, saying, World-honored one, these 2 sons of mine have carried out the Buddha's work, employing transcendental powers and transformations to turn my mind away from heresies, enabling me to abide safely in the Buddha's law, and permitting me to see the world-honored one. These 2 sons have been good friends to me. They wish to awaken the good roots from my past existences and to enrich and benefit me, and for that reason, they were born into my household. Explain the significance of being reborn into his household.
That's a powerful, symbolic notion. It hints at the transformative effect of spiritual teachings, suggesting that even those initially distant from such wisdom can be reborn into clarity and understanding. It's a reminder of the potential for profound.
I'm going to go on reading. At that time, the Buddha, cloud, thunder, sound, constellation, king, flower, wisdom, said to King Wonderful Adornment, just so it is as you have said, if good men and good women have planted good roots, and as a result, in existence after existence, have been able to gain good friends, then these good friends can do the Buddha's work, teaching, benefiting, delighting, and enabling them to enter Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Great King, you should understand that a good friend is a great cause and condition by which one is guided and led. and which enables one to see the Buddha and to conceive the desire for Anuttara, Samax, and Bodhi. Great King, do you see these two sons? These two sons have already offered alms to Buddhas, equal in number, to the sands of 6,500,000, 10,000 million Nayutas of Ganges, have drawn near to them with reverence, and in the presence of those Buddhas have accepted and upheld the Lotus Sutra, thinking with compassion of living beings who embrace heretical views and causing them to abide in correct views. King Wonderful Adornment then descended from mid-air and said to the Buddha, World-honored one, the thus come one is a very rare being. Because of his benefits and wisdom, the knob of flesh on the top of his head illuminates all with a bright light. His eyes are long, broad, and dark blue in color. The tuft of hair in between his eyebrows, one of his features, is white as a crystal moon. His teeth are white, even closely spaced, and constantly have a bright gleam. His lips are red and beautiful as the bimba fruit. Okay, I'll stop. Describe this, the symbolism behind the characteristics of the Buddha.
That's an intriguing passage, Antoine. It touches on the reverence for the Buddha's wisdom and the profound respect that followers express. The mention of world-honored one emphasizes the Buddha's esteemed position. Enjoy your reading journey.
At that time, King Wonderful Adornment, having praised the Buddha's immeasurable hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, millions of benefits in this manner, in the presence of the thus come one, single-mindedly pressed his palms together and addressed the Buddha once more, saying, World-honored one, such a thing as this has never been known before. The law of the thus come one is fully endowed with inconceivably subtle and wonderful benefits. Where his teachings and precepts are observed, there will be tranquility and good feeling. From this day on, I will no longer follow the whims of my own mind, nor will I give way to heretical views or to arrogance, anger, or other evil states of mind. When he had spoken these words, he bowed to the Buddha and departed. The Buddha said to the great assembly, What is your opinion? Is this King Wonderful Adornment someone unknown to you? In fact, he is none other than the present Bodhisattva, flower virtue, and his queen, pure virtue, is Bodhisattva, shining adornment, marks who is now the Buddha's, is in the Buddha's presence. Out of pity and compassion for King Wonderful Adornment and his attendants, he was born in their midst. The king's two sons are the present Bodhisattvas, Medicine King and Medicine Superior. These Bodhisattvas, Medicine King and Medicine Superior, have already succeeded in acquiring great benefits such as these, and in the presence of immeasurable hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, millions of Buddhas, have planted numerous roots of virtue and acquired inconceivably good benefits. If there are persons who are acquainted with the names of these two Bodhisattvas, the heavenly and human beings of all the world will surely do obeisance to them. When the Buddha preached this chapter on the former affairs of King Wonderful Adornment, 84,000 persons removed themselves from dust and defilement, and with respect to the various phenomena attained the pure Dharma eye. What's the pure Dharma eye, and what does it symbolize?
The physical features described symbolize the Buddha's exceptional qualities. The knob of flesh on his head, or Ushnisha, symbolizes his wisdom. His long, broad, dark blue eyes represent his compassionate vision, seeing all beings with love. The white tuft of hair, or urna, signifies spiritual insight. His bright lips and white teeth symbolize the purity and truth of his teachings. reflects a deeper spiritual attribute, conveying the Buddha's enlightened nature.
Okay, that talks about the features of the Buddha. What about the pure Dharma eye? Please.
The physical features described symbolize the Buddha's
No.
exceptional quality.
No physical features. Dharma eye.
The pure Dharma eye symbolizes profound insight and clarity in understanding the true nature of reality. It's about seeing beyond illusions and perceiving the world with wisdom and compassion. This eye represents the ability to discern the ultimate truth and guide others towards enlightenment.
Dharma and karma, the same or different?
They're different. Dharma refers to the ethical duties and moral responsibilities in life, particularly in Buddhism and Hinduism. Karma, on the other hand, is the principle of cause and effect, where actions determine future outcomes. So Dharma is about living righteously, while karma is the result of actions.
What is the point of reading, listening to, reciting, or keeping the Lotus Sutra?
Listening to, reciting, or keeping the Lotus Sutra is considered a profound practice in Buddhism. This activity is believed to bring about great merit, spiritual awakening, and a deeper understanding of the Dharma. It's said to help purify the mind and lead to enlightenment.
Excellent. Well, that's chapter 27. That's chapter 27. King Wonderful Adornment heard the Dharma, felt it in his bones, and let go of power to walk the path. His son showed up with compassion, clarity, and chant, and the transformation unfolded. Before you roll out, hit that bell, let it echo through your space, and chant it with me. Namo Sadharma Pundrika Sutra. That's the title, that's the rhythm, that's the vow. This is my Dharma path. I'm Antoine. Thank you for walking with me. Till next time, keep your devotions clear and your blessings flowing in.
Flowing out, as in letting go, releasing, or perhaps even sharing wisdom or energy with the world. Such a concept resonates deeply in many traditions,
Bye.
emphasizing the importance of
Bye.
contribution and the cyclical nature of giving and receiving.
Shut up, please. All right. See you.